Part 54. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 531. Except for Fang Lingqian, everyone in the team saw for the first time the scene of Xiaopingan holding the terrifying heavy close-in defense gun turret and sweeping through thousands of troops. Such a powerful scene, suddenly the sun gave many people a huge shock. However, no matter what everyone thinks, having such a powerful guy in the team is really reassuring. Even if there are too many monsters behind to deal with, as long as you return to this guy, you should be fine. Because until now, the guy's method of killing the demon rats has mainly been firearms, and he has not used too many spells and summoner methods. This shows that the guy still has a trump card in his hand and has room to spare. More than one person had such a thought in his mind, and then felt that the pressure in the tunnel was dispelled by the roar of the turret in Xiaopingan's hands unknowingly. Even Chen Changming of the dragon team couldn't help but look at Xiaopingan. Just when Chen Changming was watching, he happened to see a demon rat that had half of its body broken off by the turret in Xiaopingan's hand. The demon rat lay on the ground and pretended to be dead until Xiaopingan approached. The demon rat suddenly rose from the ground with its entire head and half of its body, trying to bite Xiaopingan's thigh. Then, Chen Changming saw Xiaopingan, who was holding a turret in his hand, stepping on the wall beside the tunnel like a dexterous blue sheep, lightly jumping up from the ground, avoiding the attack of the demon rat pretending to be dead. In the air, he turned around and fired a shot at the demon rat's head with the turret in his hand. Boom! A flash of fire entered the brain, and the head of the demon rat exploded like a tomato stuffed into a firecracker, and steaming red and white things splashed everywhere. The boundary bead, still stained with blood, rolled down from the demon rat's head and landed at Xiaopingan's feet. But Xiaopingan didn't even look at the boundary bead that rolled down at his feet. He didn't put the boundary bead into his pocket. He just calmly pulled the trigger and continued to kill the demon rat. This character is okay. Chen Changming nodded secretly. There was a rustling sound coming from the tunnel ahead, indicating that a large number of monsters were approaching. Chao Tong, Lu Xiong, then. Chen Changming shouted, and as soon as he moved his hand, two dark weapons appeared on his hand. The RPG armor-piercing sniper hive launcher equipped by the Chinese army, Chen Changming directly he left these two big guys to the two men of his dragon group. Different from ordinary gun-type RPGs, the RPG armor-piercing sniper launcher equipped by the Chinese army is box-type. It is like a suitcase and is carried on the shoulder. It is very heavy. When the front cover of this honeycomb launcher is opened, you can see to the RPG launch tube of the honeycomb structure behind the cover. Once loaded, this thing can fire 12 RPG armor-piercing bullets, and its firepower is more sustainable on the battlefield. This thing is most suitable for dealing with monsters with strong defenses such as demon liquid spiders and demon fire spiders. Chen Changming threw the two deadly weapons to Chao Tong and Lu Xiong of the dragon group. Chao Tong and Lu Xiong took them and trotted while holding the two weapons on their shoulders, entering combat mode in the blink of an eye. The big spider is left to you. Rest assured. The dragon team has a very tacit understanding and it is very clear who should do what in this situation. The figures of the demon rat and demon fire spider in front have appeared in front of the tunnel and are rushing towards here. While he was talking, Chen Changming waved his hand, and two thick ice walls formed in the tunnel ahead as a cover. Then, Tupolu also took out a big thing from his space equipment and threw it to Li Yunzhou. This big thing was also carried on his back. It was a flamethrower. Tupolu himself then he took out a multi-barreled machine gun and set it up behind the ice wall. When other physical means can be used to kill those monsters, summoners are accustomed to leaving magical means behind as trump cards. Therefore, if bombs and bullets can be used to solve the problem, try not to consume divine power and spells, because it will supplement the previous things. It is easy and the cost is low. Those things are produced on the assembly line in the factory, but replenishing divine power is not so convenient and the cost is higher. The others each summoned different warriors. Compared with the previous search, the warriors summoned now were not 1 or 2, but more than 10 or 20 together. The summoner's battle formation was set up instantly. The machine gun in Tupolu's hand roared angrily, sweeping the charging demon rats to the ground. The RPG armor-piercing sniper hive launcher on Lu Xiong's shoulder flew out with a first-class fire, directly lifting the shell of a demon liquid spider behind the demon rats and blowing it up. Another flame spider rushed out from the demon rat, and a line of fire swept towards the side. Fang Lingshan waved her hand, and a water shield appeared in front of everyone, intercepting the flames of the magic fire spider. A large group of demonic rats clung to the ground to avoid the machine gun disciples in Tupolu's hands. Seeing that the demonic rats were already close to a distance of 70 or 80 meters, Li Yunzhou yelled, "Go to hell!" A small flame from a spell ignited the muzzle of the flamethrower, and then a fire dragon spurted out from the nozzle of the flamethrower in his hand, turning more than a dozen demon rats into burning fire rats. Although this guy Li Yunzhou usually looks a bit wretched and greedy for life, but in the battle, when the actual confrontation occurs, this guy is actually quite reliable and not timid at all. A fierce battle started on the other side of the tunnel in an instant. On the other side of the tunnel, looking at the alley of flesh and blood in a moment, and the battlefield where no demon rat could get up anymore, Xiaopingan stopped shooting, and the motor of the crazily rotating turret in his hand also stopped. Then it stopped all of a sudden. This turret is very useful, but it consumes ammunition a bit quickly. In just 2 battles, 2/3 of the ammunition for the turret that he obtained from the butcher's arms warehouse has been consumed. The remaining ammunition must be saved, otherwise the turret will be destroyed quickly. It will become a decoration. Xiaopingan put away the turret and summoned 10 more elite slave soldiers. The 15 elite slave soldiers he summoned lined up in a row and walked in front of him. When passing the corpses of the demon rats on the ground, they used Changji again. To add to this, if you encounter a few demon rats pretending to be dead, you can kill them in an instant. Such a battle would not pose any challenge to Xiaopingan. Finally, several huge magic fire spiders emerged from the ground in front of them. Xiaopingan waved his hand and summoned an assassin. Those magic fire spiders rushed towards Xiaopingan with great momentum. From a distance, they spit out spider silk threads towards Xiaopingan. The spider silk threads were connected into a large web, sealing off all the evasive spaces in the tunnel. When he rushed 5 meters away from Xiaopingan, a swirling water shield appeared in front of Xiaopingan, which easily melted the spider threads of fire. At the same time, the assassin summoned by Xiaopingan had already arrived in front of a magic fire spider in the blink of an eye. The assassin's figure flashed past the demon fire spider. The long sword in his hand had pierced the demon fire spider's powerfully defensive head, leaving only a finger on the demon fire spider's vital part. With thick and thin wounds, the demonic fire spider was like a lying tank, instantly motionless, and the light of life in each compound eye dimmed instantly. The next second, the assassin appeared on the head of another demon fire spider. He also struck a sword with a flash of light and inserted it into the head of the demon fire spider. The demon fire spider also stopped moving. The assassins summoned by Xiaopingan were flashing in the tunnel like ghosts, avoiding the attacks of the magic fire spiders and magic liquid spiders, but they could always pass by these huge guys with a flash of light. It can annihilate the vitality of these huge monsters. If more than 30 magic fire spiders and demon liquid spiders suddenly ran into the city from here, they would be as good as an armored battalion in a surprise attack. However, in front of the assassins summoned by Xiaopingan, they all fell down before they could hold out for half a minute. There was no movement in the tunnel. Xiaopingan walked gracefully through the battlefield. Following the elite slave soldiers who opened the way, he passed over the remains of the lifeless monster spiders and came to a shelter behind to take a look. There was a large, dark, and strange hole in that shelter, leading to the underground. The dark and strange hole suddenly opened its bloody mouth and bit Xiaopingan. Xiaopinggan didn't even blink, he just flicked his fingers and made a crisp snap sound, and the illusion of the dark and strange hole disappeared from his eyes. Two phantom monsters with white light all over their bodies suddenly screamed, emerged from the big hole, and rushed towards Xiaopinggan, but before they could get close to Xiaopinggan, a flaming light flashed in the void. He had already been killed by the assassin summoned by Xiaopinggan, and turned into ashes and fell to the ground. After the assassin killed the phantom monster, his entire figure dissolved in the air like bubbles. Dots of fireflies flew in, lighting up the dark shelter a little more. It's been a long time since I've seen the phantom monster's demon spirit. The phantom monster's demon spirit always reminds Xiaopinggan of the previous battle scenes in Xuanhuan. This thing, if it hadn't encountered a summoner, would be almost invincible. A phantom monster's demon spirit, the spirit can even easily destroy an armored regiment. At that time, the troops of the Great Yan Kingdom suffered a big loss from this thing. Xiaopinggan was not surprised to meet two phantom monsters here. In his eyes, this little thing can create all kinds of illusions, which is actually quite fun. The assassin entered the dark cave entrance. In the blink of an eye, the screams and wails of a large number of demon rats were heard below the cave. There were still many demon rats hidden under the big hole. Those demon rats were all killed by Xiaopinggan before. Hiding inside and not coming out. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 532. After the screams of the demon rats under the cave entrance stopped, a few elite slave soldiers entered first, and then Xiaopinggan followed and took a look. There is also a layer of underground facilities below the entrance of this shelter. The entrance is the entrance and exit of the underground facilities. Xiaopinggan went down the underground hole and saw that underneath the shelter was a huge abandoned underground warehouse. Next to the stairs next to the entrance was a line of peeling paint written in French, French National Materials No. 76 Reserve. But at this moment, there are no materials in the material storage warehouse. There are only some discarded garbage and packaging boxes, and a few damaged forklifts and other engineering vehicles that fell on the ground. One end of the warehouse is connected to an underground road. There are railway tracks, and there are several huge ventilation shafts on the top of the warehouse. Although it is deep underground, the air is not dirty. This material storage warehouse is too big, bigger than several football fields combined. There are some holes left by sandworms in the warehouse. Go down the stairs at the hole. This warehouse is almost as high as 7 or 8 floors. In the warehouse there are several dark passages around, and there are some rooms and other buildings next to the passages. This is a huge underground project. The assassin summoned by Xiaopinggan soon discovered something here. Suddenly, a stranger's screaming voice came from a passage in the warehouse, shouting loudly in French, "Don't kill me, don't kill me, I don't know anything, I was kidnapped, those people forced me." There is actually someone else? Xiaopinggan quickly ran towards the place where the sound came from. At the end of this passage, Xiaopinggan saw a thick alloy security door that had been scratched and destroyed by the assassin he summoned. Behind the security door is a passage. There is a room next to the passage. There are welded iron bars and locks outside the room. It looks like a modified prison cell. The iron bars have been cut with a huge gap. The cell there was a green fluorescent light hanging inside. A white man in his 50s, wearing a dirty old suit and glasses, was sitting on the ground with a frightened expression, explaining in horror to the assassin standing in front of him. The assassin summoned by Xiaopinggan looked like a human-shaped rolling black smoke under the fluorescent lights. He had no face and could only see the cold eyes flashing red. He looked strange and powerful. The sword was placed on the man's neck, which frightened the man to the point of peeing. Xiaopinggan's order to the assassin was to kill only monsters and not people, so the man was alive until now. The white man's face was bearded and haggard, his eyes were frightened, and his lips were chapped. He looked like a down-and-out beggar. He had no idea who was intruding here at this moment, and was just desperately trying to explain. "What's your name, who are you, and why are you here?" Xiaopinggan asked directly. "My name is Ricardo Samuel, I am a professor at the Technical University of Munich, a biochemist. I was kidnapped and brought here." The man saw that Xiaopinggan seemed to have been in contact with him before. "Those who are different," quickly replied. Xiaopinggan waved his hand gently, and the assassin disappeared. The man named Samuel breathed a sigh of relief, and seemed to see that Xiaopinggan was not a bad person, at least different from those he had interacted with before. "Do you know where this is?" Xiaopinggan asked. I don't know, I have been blindfolded. I woke up here. I feel like this should be France, because those people all speak French." "You are safe now. Come forward and speak." The man stood up tremblingly, looking at the dark passage outside the room with horrified eyes. He swallowed nervously. "Here, what is this place?" "This is the underground of Paris." "Ah." The man looked shocked. "How long have you been kidnapped here?" "I don't know. I don't have a timing tool with me, but judging from the number of times I eat, I think it may be more than a year. Can you take me out of here?" "Okay, but wait a moment. Apart from you, are there any other people kidnapped here? Have you ever come into contact with anything special, such as nuclear materials?" I don't know. I have been kept here by them. Every few days, they will send some food here. By the way, there is a passage behind this room. I often heard the sound in the room before. There were some strange noises coming from the passage outside, and I saw people being sent in one after another." Samuel pointed gingerly at the other end of the passage outside the room, which had iron bars and a safety door. "Don't move here." Xiaopinggan said something to the man, then left the room and walked toward the passage outside the iron bars of the room. In fact, the man couldn't move, because several elite slave soldiers summoned by Xiaopinggan had already entered here and guarded the passage and room outside. 2 elite slave soldiers directly watched the man. After walking more than 10 meters in the passage, another iron fence and a safety door appeared in front of Xiaopinggan. Xiaopinggan raised his hand, and a high-temperature fireball flew out. The iron bars and safety door were burned and melted, making a big hole. An elite slave soldier walked in front, kicked open the safety door with one kick, and walked straight in. Unlike outside, as soon as the security door in this passage was broken open, a foul smell came from inside, and something vaguely roared from inside. The flying fireflies lit up the dark passage again. Xiaopinggan walked in with a frown. After a while, Xiaopinggan saw what was in the room in the passage. In several rooms that were transformed into cells, there were a group of zombies with red eyes and disgusting mucus on the corners of their mouths. The walking zombies were locked in the cells, feeling muddle-headed and making weird roars from time to time. It seemed that it had been a long time since they had smelled the scent of a stranger. As soon as they felt Xiaopinggan coming in, the zombies in the room became violent collectively. They stretched out their hands from the room and put their ugly faces that were close to rotting there. On top of the iron fence, he was biting at the iron fence, trying to break out. Damn it! There are more than 10 rooms containing zombies, and a total of 200 to 300 zombies are locked up here. At the end of this passage, there is an iron door. After breaking the iron door, Xiaopinggan found that there was a laboratory behind the iron door. There were many things in the laboratory. On some boxes in the laboratory, there were military biological weapons symbol. The sound of swift footsteps and Fang Lingyu's low exclamation came from behind. Zombies. Xiaopinggan turned around and saw Fang Lingqian and Su Xiao from the dragon team rushing in from the back passage at the same time. Be careful, the things in this room may be more dangerous than nuclear materials. Xiaopinggan warned when he saw the 2 people entering the room. When Fang Lingqian and Su Xiao entered the room, they gasped when they saw the signs of military biological weapons on the boxes in the room, with extremely serious expressions on their faces. Military neurotoxin. Fang Lingqian looked at the logo and text on a box and said with a trembling voice. There is also military anthrax. Su Xiao looked at the other boxes and her expression changed. Everyone came here today originally to find nuclear materials, but unexpectedly, they discovered some biological and chemical weapons hidden here. Needless to say, the things here must have been created by the Devil's Eye. The previous intelligence from the Order Committee and the Dragon Group did not show that there is such a dangerous thing in Paris, but this is normal. The so-called intelligence can never master all the information. If it can really master all the information, then it is not intelligence. Is the creator. Where are the monsters outside? Xiaoping'an asked. It's almost done. You only have one person here, let's come and help you, Fang Lingqian said, taking out a portable camera and starting to take pictures of the things in the room. The monsters pouring out from behind were really not enough to see when faced with the well-equipped Order Committee and the summoners of the Dragon Group. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 533. Everything that everyone sees underground is important evidence and intelligence. It is necessary to preserve the image data. In addition to intelligence analysis, these data may have other uses. I saw the two elite slave soldiers you summoned looking at a person outside. Who is that person? Su Xiao asked Xiaoping'an. A biochemist kidnapped by the Devil's Eye is called Ricardo Samuel. He said he is a professor at the Technical University of Munich. You need to verify. Xiaoping'an said, seeing Fang Lingqian's camera turning here, he took 2 steps to the side to avoid Fang Lingqian's lens. Xiaoping'an didn't want to appear in this image material. The slave soldier holding the radiation monitoring instrument also entered the room at this time. The detector was buzzing, and the indicators were normal. In fact, there were no traces of nuclear materials here. By the time Fang Lingqian finished taking pictures of the ferocious-looking zombies outside, other members of the Dragon Group and the Order Committee also arrived one after another. Everyone was shocked when they saw everything underground and the zombies. More than half an hour later, the biochemical weapons in that room can kill 12 million people and turn the whole of Paris into a dead city. After checking the dangerous biochemical weapons in the room, Chen Changming said to Xiaoping'an with a serious face, it seems that in addition to nuclear materials, the Doomsday Gang also has other means to destroy the city. Those zombies were also brewed by the Doomsday Gang using zombie viruses. They may be preparing to release them at the appropriate time. We just found some new drugs in the room just now, and zombies were added to those drugs. Virus, fortunately the Doomsday Gang has been destroyed, otherwise I really don't know what they would do. Fang Lingqian also said with lingering fear. The biochemical poisons in the room have been received by Chen Changming into his space equipment and are ready to be handed over to professionals for analysis and processing. From the source of those things, there may be some traces of the Devil's Eye. When everyone left here, the rooms where the zombies were kept were already ignited with raging fires. The high-temperature flames burned all the zombies in the room to ashes. Once one of those zombies ran out, they might not be able to survive. To cause a big mess, it must be destroyed. Tupolu, Li Yunzhou, Lu Xiong, and Chao Tong came over. Just now, the 4 of them went to get the boundary beads from the monsters and clean the battlefield. Now they came back with a box in their hands. In the box were more than 20 world beads found by people. Let's distribute these world beads after we return. Chen Changming said. Okay, I agree, we will allocate it after we get back, Fang Lingqian also said. No problem, Xiaoping'an also nodded, and then asked, haven't the corpses of those demon rats and demon spiders been collected? Our space equipment can no longer be loaded. Those corpses may be in big trouble if they are left here. It is safer to destroy them with incendiary bombs when we go back. Chen Changming said. Since everyone doesn't want those things, then I'll go pick up some rags. Do you have any objections? Xiaopingan said with a smile. Of course I have no objection, but can your space equipment hold so many things? Fang Lingqian asked curiously. Xiaopingan touched his nose and smiled modestly. It should be able to hold it a little longer. I can summon the elixir master, and the corpses of those monsters can be used to refine elixirs. They are still useful to me, so they are wasted here. Chen Changming nodded. Okay, we'll wait for you here for 10 minutes and let you pick up the corpses of those monsters. This will also reduce some of our later workload. Okay, then I'll be right back, Xiaopingan said and ran outside. Li Yunzhou and Lu Xiong from the Dragon Group also followed Xiaopingan out of curiosity. When they walked outside, they were shocked. Others collected the corpses of the monsters and carefully picked them. Because the space equipment was limited, they could not move much. Xiaopingan came outside and walked over the corpses of the monsters. With a wave of his hand, large swaths of monsters appeared. The corpses disappeared. In the tunnel, the corpses of monsters that were slightly better and more complete were all collected by Xiaopingan. 10, dozens, hundreds, thousands of demon rats' remains were all received by Xiaopingan into his space equipment. Not even those big spiders. The two of them were stunned, having no idea that the space of Xiaopingan's secret mandala could hold so many things. There are also some scattered and smashed monster corpses thrown on the ground. For those fragmentary things that cannot be collected, when Xiaopingan walks by, flames will appear on the ground and burn those things cleanly, just like being burned. It was like a dog licking it, and in the end only ashes were left on the ground, leaving no hidden dangers. Because he was so shocked, Lu Xiong from the Dragon Group thought it was because he was dazzled and rubbed his eyes. I'm not dazzled. Could it be that the space equipment in that guy's secret mandala is a bottomless pit? How can it be installed? Li Yunzhou was stunned. What Li Yunzhou doesn't know is that these things are just trivial to Xiaopingan's secret mandala now. Even if there are 10 times more, his secret mandala can easily swallow them. As soon as the corpses of those monsters appeared in the treasury of Xiaopingan's secret mandala, countless people in Lingxiao City became busy. All the corpses were quickly decomposed by craftsmen, and those who could refine elixirs were sent outside Lingxiao City. The elixirs are refined in the Yaoang Valley, and those who can make utensils are sent to the workshops in the city to make utensils. The efficiency is so high that others can hardly imagine it. In the Medicine King Valley outside Lingxiao City, there are currently more than 20 first-level alchemists and more than 10 second-level alchemists. The alchemy furnaces in the valley are steaming with heat. It is almost as if Xiaopingan had just sent the corpses of those monsters in. In the Medicine King Valley, the elixir masters began to work enthusiastically and began to refine elixirs. Only 6 minutes later, less than 10 minutes later, Xiaopingan returned to the team after collecting the corpses, and continued to search underground with everyone. Under the French National Material Reserve No. 76, there were many large holes made by sandworms, and everyone was ready to enter the holes to search. Everyone's eyes on Xiaopingan changed again. Just now, Xiaopingan collected the corpses of those monsters. Su Xiao did not go down, but Su Xiao's remote viewing ability could see it. It was probably what Su Xiao and Chen Changming said, so everyone knew that Xiaopingan had a space equipment with a terrifying volume. Actually put most of the corpses of those monsters inside. Can you take me with you? I don't want to stay here anymore. Poor biochemist Samuel looked at everyone pitifully. Although his identity has not been finally verified, this place is underground and there is no way to contact the outside world, but judging from Samuel's appearance, the verification is just a formality and there should be no problem. The safest place is where you are now. We have to continue searching underground now. It is very dangerous. There is no way to take you with us. You continue to wait for us here. We will take you with us when we leave here. Fang Lingguan said. Samuel's face turned pale. What if those people who kidnapped me come back again? The people who kidnapped you will not come here again. We will leave 2 summoned creatures here to protect you. You just need to stay here. After Chen Changming finished speaking, he asked the 2 elite slave soldiers summoned by the dragon group to here protect Samuel, and then everyone continues to search. Seeing 2 summoned creatures beside him, Samuel felt a little calmer. There are several huge holes underground in this material reserve, and there are train tracks connecting other places. Everyone will continue to search in depth. The train track here is connected to another underground material storage warehouse, just 2 kilometers away. Both material storage warehouses have been ruined. There are no other things, and there is no reaction from nuclear radiation. There are only a few magic rats and sandworms. He jumped out, but was easily solved by everyone. After searching the 2 material storage warehouses, everyone entered the underground hole of the first material storage warehouse and continued the search below. The hole was made by sandworms and magic rats. They followed the hole and went deeper into the ground. After going more than 500 meters underground, everyone discovered a huge natural cave. In that dark underground cave, there are actually some strange and luminous plants growing. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 534. I didn't expect there to be such a large cave space underground in Paris. Walking in the middle of the thick moss belt that exuded a faint green light, Xiaopinghan was also a little surprised. Of course, what surprised him even more was the plants he saw in the underground cave. These plants looked inexplicably strange. Familiar, Xiaopinghan recognized some of them. He seemed to have seen them in Yuankai world. These plants were definitely not creatures on Earth. Like that kind of huge toadstool that is as tall as one person and looks like a pavilion. There are also those strange blood-red grasses that grow on hard rocks. The vitality of these strange plants growing underground is so tenacious that it is unimaginable. It seems that they can grow as long as there is a little moisture, gravel, or even stone. However, these underground plants all have very obvious signs of being eaten, such as those huge toadstools, many of which have been eaten by half and look very incomplete. There are also moss belts that grow like weeds. There is a sharp contrast between the growing moss and the eaten moss. Everyone, be careful. This should be one of the underground layers of those demon rats in Paris. These plants are the underground granaries of those demon rats. The demon rats we just encountered should be reproducing and growing on these things here. Fang Lingqian reminded. As she spoke, she controlled the shooting equipment in her hand to record the underground scene. Everyone also felt it was new and looked at it as they walked. The slave soldiers holding the radiation detectors were also not idle, sweeping around with the detectors, making a hissing sound. I have heard before that those demon rats carry plant seeds, spores, and the like from other worlds. Once some demon rats hide somewhere, especially underground, they will carry plant seeds from other worlds. It will grow and provide food for them. I finally saw it today. This can be regarded as another form of biological invasion. Tupolu looked at it curiously and reached out to push the one next to him. The tall giant toadstool said with emotion. The spores and plant seeds of some underground plants from other worlds will stick to the fur of the devil rats, and some will be excreted through the digestive organs of the devil rats. Therefore, these space-invading creatures will come carrying plant seeds from other worlds. Last time we were on a mission in Africa, we saw a strange kind of cacti brought by invasive creatures in the African desert. Those cacti were red and each one was as big as a human. They could absorb water directly from the air and store it. It can also turn carbon dioxide into high-quality starch food. A desert is covered with red things, which is quite strange. Some local tribes have even begun to regard that thing as food, thinking that it is a gift from God. Chen Changming said with some emotion. If there were no magic rats, these things would look quite strange. Maybe we could set up an underground paradise. It would definitely make money. Li Yunzhou looked around and said. The underground here is full of rocks and underground rivers. There are no roads. Everyone is groping their way through it, searching as they go. When encountering obstacles, slopes, or boulders that are several meters high, everyone can flexibly climb over them. In a place like this, except for the summoners who can search it, even the military's special forces cannot come in. If a general cave exploration team comes in and encounters monsters, they may be wiped out. Squeak. A demon rat screamed, and suddenly rushed out from a gap in a nearby rock. It opened its big mouth, showing its sharp teeth, and wanted to bite people, but it didn't wait for the demon rat to get close. A javelin had already flown over with a swipe, and amidst the screams of the demon rat, it was pinned to the ground. While the demon rat was still struggling, the elite who threw the javelin, the slave soldier, jumped, crossed a rugged lava and several rocks, and rushed to the side of the demon rat. Chang Ji stabbed cleanly and split the demon rat's head open. The elite slave soldiers in action were summoned by Xiaopingan. Their reaction and mobility were obviously much stronger than the elite slave soldiers and warriors summoned by others. Everyone's eyes turned to Xiaopingan involuntarily. Tisk tisk, Mr. Luoan, how powerful is the elite slave soldier you summoned? Why is it so strong? Li Yunzhou couldn't help but ask. If you don't speak, no one will think you are mute, Fang Lingshan glared at Li Yunzhou. Among summoners, it is taboo to ask others about the abilities and attributes of summoned characters, because these things are part of the secret mandala and are also secrets, and will reveal a lot of things. This guy Li Yunzhou is heartless sometimes. Seeing two Polus staring at him, Li Yunzhou smiled and explained, I'm just curious, nothing else. It's nothing. I have integrated a very strange world bead before. That world bead can enhance the combat power of the elite slave soldiers I summoned. Xiaopingan made up a reason. This should be the case, otherwise the elite slave soldiers summoned by Luoan would be too strong for no reason. Ah, this demon rat also has a world bead. Arriving next to the demon rat, Xiaopingan's elite slave soldiers had found a boundary bead from the demon rat's head. They were wiping the boundary bead on the demon rat's body and then handed it to Xiaopingan. The three small characters Swiren Shi flashed inside this boundary bead, which was the foundation building boundary bead. Xiaopingan put away the corpse of the demon rat and handed the boundary bead to Li Yunzhou. These boundary beads would be distributed together after returning. There were also some subtle rustling sounds coming from the gaps in the nearby stones. When everyone came closer, they saw a demon rat's nest in the gap. There were 7 or 8 puppy-sized demon rats in it. The demon rat must have just been born, and when he saw someone coming, he would already show his teeth at everyone. It's all a scourge. Chen Changming raised his hand without thinking, and a fireball flew out. In the blink of an eye, all the demon rats in the rat's nest were reduced to ashes. These demonic rats will attack and eat people when they grow up, so even though they are small now, they really cannot stay. There is no mercy to the invading monsters. Everyone wandered around in this huge underground cave for 5 or 6 hours. Except for some remaining magic rats, sandworms, and a nest of magic fire spiders, there were no other dazzling things in the cave. The radiation detectors all normal. The magic rats, sandworms, and big spiders that dared to show up were all easily eliminated, but there were still some magic rats and sandworms that used the holes they made to get into places that were difficult for some people to enter because there was no way to drill the holes. Just give it up. The eradication of invading space creatures will be a protracted war on Earth in the future. Everyone's goal today is to find nuclear materials. Some of the magic rats and sandworms that escaped have to be allowed to escape. After coming out of this huge underground cave, everyone continued to search in the underground tunnels and shelters for most of the day, searching all the suspicious locations, but still found nothing. In the end, everyone had to take the kidnapped Samuel and return from the original route, returning to the surface through the entrance of the underground tunnel. Before I knew it, a whole night had passed. Everyone stayed underground for almost 20 hours. When they returned to the surface, the morning sun had just risen. Except for Xiaopinggan and Chen Changming, the creatures summoned by others cannot return to the secret mandala. They can only wander in the underground tunnels, waiting for the plane to dissipate after the time has elapsed. During this period, if someone accidentally enters the underground tunnel and encounters the summoned creatures that have not yet dissipated, there is no need to worry, because the final order given by those summoned creatures is to only kill the monsters and zombies they see. The convoy returned to the Order Committee stronghold in District 11. Upon returning to the stronghold, Samuel's identity was confirmed. He was a professor at the Technical University of Munich. Samuel was then taken away, and Xiaopinggan and others came to a meeting office to conduct a summary and analysis of this operation. Although we did not find nuclear materials in this operation, we also made great gains. One of the gains was that we determined the relationship between the Doomsday Gang and the Devil's Eye, and at the same time discovered the biochemicals left by the Doomsday Gang and the Devil's Eye underground in Paris. Weapons and zombie viruses are a wake-up call for both of us. At the same time, the relevant information and things have been analyzed by the Intelligence Department of the Order Committee and the Dragon Group, and some things can be traced back. Minister Yan was making a speech in the conference room, and everyone was sitting on both sides of the table in the conference room, listening. Everyone participated in the operation yesterday, and Minister Yan left Paris to meet with the heads of certain French government departments to coordinate some resources and intelligence. The second gain from this operation is that we have eliminated the most likely places to hide nuclear materials in Paris, further narrowing the scope of search targets. And the third gain from this operation is that we have eliminated a large number of space-invasive creatures, indirectly saved the lives of millions of people in Paris and prevented the city from being destroyed. We will notify the French government of some relevant action details and let the French owe us a big favor. These are all thanks to everyone. Okay, I know that everyone is tired after a day of action, so I won't say more. Everyone is disbanded, and the spoils of this operation will be distributed by everyone. Minister Yan was very sensible and left the meeting on his own initiative. Hearing that the spoils could be divided, everyone in the room suddenly became energetic, and the fatigue from the night seemed to disappear. All the world beads were taken out and placed on the table. The total number of world beads was 26. Each world pearl flashes with a special brilliance, which is dazzling. Even if these world pearls are not integrated by themselves, placed around the world, they are still precious resources and can be exchanged for a lot of money. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 535. In this operation, Mr. Luoan was the strongest and killed the most monsters. He greatly shared and resolved the risks for our team. At the same time, Mr. Luoan was the first to discover those dangerous biological and chemical weapons and the kidnapped people. Biochemistry expert, Mr. Luoan has the greatest credit. According to the rules, Mr. Luoan can give priority to the 6 boundary beads here. Does anyone have any objections? Chen Changming said. Xiaopinggan gave priority to choosing 6 boundary beads. Everyone was convinced and had no objections. So when Chen Changming spoke, everyone agreed. The Order Committee provided sufficient intelligence support and logistical support for this mission. Therefore, although the Order Committee only has 4 people and our Dragon Group has 5 people, I think the remaining Jizu, the Order Committee and the Dragon Group are divided into 10. Hey, do you have any opinions? Chen Changming continued. This distribution plan was very fair. Everyone agreed and then looked at Xiaopinggan. Mr. Luoan, please pick 6 first, Fang Lingqian said to Xiaopinggan. Okay, you're welcome then, Xiaopinggan smiled and picked out. Nearly 1/3 of the 26 world beads on the table were from the Xuanhuan clan, the Yushao clan, and the Shenan clan. he has basically fused the rest of the foundation building world beads of the clan. There is nothing new. There is only one world bead that looks a bit unfamiliar. It is a divine power world bead. There are stars on the world bead, and there are Sudongpo defended Goryeo in 6 small words. This is a divine power world bead. Xiaopingan picked up the divine power world bead in one go. Then, Xiaopingan took another defection before formation world bead, and another net opening bead. I will not take the 3-faced boundary beads, one yang sui and the boundary beads. Putting away the 4 world beads, Xiaopingan smiled at everyone. I collected a lot of monster corpses in the tunnel. Those corpses are also valuable. I only need these 4 world beads. The rest let's divide the 2 world beads among everyone. The Order Committee and the Dragon Group will each receive 11. Be particular about it. Tupolu laughed and gave Xiaopingan a thumbs up. Others also secretly admired him. Many high-level summoners have bad tempers and high arrogance. When dividing the spoils like this, they always say the same thing. They take all the benefits before leaving a little soup for others. No one expected that Xiaopingan was so generous and open-minded, even taking the spoils for himself. Monster corpses are included. Although the divine power world bead is rare, its value is actually not great in the eyes of everyone. The slave soldier world bead selected by Xiaopingan and the other 2 world beads are also very ordinary world beads. These 4 world beads, the combined value is slightly higher than a complete set of foundation building world beads that can allow people to advance to the level of summoner. Nowadays, all over the world, a set of 3 summoner foundation establishment world beads is a very sought after commodity, and Xiaopingan doesn't want even one. After Xiaopingan finished selecting, there were still 22 world beads left. Then Fang Lingqian picked one, Chen Changming picked another, Fang Lingqian picked another, and Chen Changming picked another. The 2 took turns picking. Each of them divided the 11 world beads in a matter of seconds. As for how the 11 world beads are divided within the groups on both sides, it has nothing to do with outsiders. After the division of the boundary beads, everyone was happy and very satisfied. For Tupolu and the others, after one day's task, they had managed to obtain 2 or 3 boundary beads. This task was very fat. The next mission may not be until a few days later. Watching everyone leave the conference room, Xiaopingan took 2 steps forward and caught up with Chen Changming outside the conference room. Team Leader Chen, please stay. Chen Changming turned around and asked, is there anything wrong with Mr. Luoan? I would like to ask, I am in Paris now, can I send something to China? Ha ha ha, of course you can, others certainly can't, but this is just a trivial matter to our dragon team. We still maintain smooth contact with the country, and the logistics of supplies is very convenient. A smile appeared on Chen Changming's face. He knew that Xia the country Ping An mentioned must be referring to China. I wonder what Mr. Luoan wants to send to China. I saw a letter from my parents in China today. I haven't contacted my family for a long time. If it's convenient, I would like to ask the Dragon team to help bring some money and some pills to my parents at home. We definitely support Mr. Luoan's filial piety. By the way, euros can still be exchanged in China, right? Of course, order has been restored in most cities in the country, and it is very convenient to exchange these foreign currencies. Well, for the 20 million euros, please ask the Dragon team to help me bring them to the country and give them to my parents. Each person has 10 million euros. These 2 bottles of pills are bodybuilding pills. Give them to my parents as well and tell them to give them once every 3 days pills. 1 bottle can last for a year, Xiaopingan said, and with a wave of his hand, a pile of money suddenly appeared in front of him and Chen Changming. On this pile of money, there were 2 more pills containing body-strengthening pills. Porcelain vase. Luoan's parents are a bit older and can't compete with the young people, so 1 pill every 3 days is more suitable. There are 120 pills in each of the 2 bottles. These pills are Xiaopingans. The Medicine King Valley in the secret mandala had just been refined and was of good quality. After Luoan's parents ate it, it was easy for them to live a long and healthy life. Brand new banknotes with a maximum face value of 500 euros, still exuding the scent of banknote ink, were piled in bundles. Each bundle was 50,000 euros, and there were 400 bundles piled in front of the two people. Xiaopingyan found these banknotes at the butcher and kidnapped them. In addition to these, there were more than 200 million euros in his secret mandala. For Luoan's parents, 10 million euros per person can already allow them to live a very comfortable life and enjoy their old age. If it is too much, it may cause trouble. Are these 2 bottles of bodybuilding pills? Chen Changming asked with his eyebrows moving. Not bad, Xiaopingyan nodded. Can I take a look? Of course. Xiaopingyan picked up a bottle of body strengthening pill and handed it directly to Chen Changming. Chen Changming took the bottle of body strengthening elixir, opened the bottle, looked at the elixir inside, and then sniffed it gently. A look of emotion appeared on his face, and he said with some surprise, "It's such a strong medicine, and it's very good, color is like amber, this is the top bodybuilding elixir." I don't know if Xiaopingyan is the top body strengthening pill. Anyway, the body strengthening pills refined by his elixir master have always been good and genuine. As his strength increases, especially when he becomes a holy master and can summon a second-level elixir master. After that, the wisdom and level of elixir refining of the elixir masters he summoned also increased, and the elixirs they refined seemed to be better. Haha, thank you. It's just an ordinary elixir. I'll ask team leader Chen to help me. My parents are older, so they can take some bodybuilding elixirs to replenish their health and longevity. I can rest assured outside. Don't worry, I will definitely bring these bodybuilding pills and money, and there will never be any mistakes. Chen Changming was not surprised at all that Xiaopingyan could come up with these money and pills. He waved his hand and handed over the money and pills. Collect them all. It would be surprising if such a powerful summoner couldn't even get out this little money and pills. Thank you very much. You're welcome, it's easy. Chen Changming squinted at Xiaopingyan, pondered for 2 seconds, and then suddenly said, I heard from Mr. Luoan before that your secret mandala can summon the alchemist to refine body strengthening pills. The body strengthening elixir was probably made by Mr. Luoan himself, right? Yes, I refined it myself. I wonder if Mr. Luoan still has a lot of bodybuilding pills. If there are more, the Dragon Group can do a business with Mr. Luoan. As soon as he heard that he could do business, Xiaopingyan became more energetic and asked, what? Does the Dragon Group need a bodybuilding pill? Chen Changming smiled slightly. Mr. Luoan may not have served in the Dragon Group or other powerful national institutions before. Now this body strengthening pill is the only way for ordinary people without qualifications to strengthen their physique and become summoners. Ordinary summoners take it. It is also very helpful. This thing is one of the top and best-selling drugs. It is needed not only by summoners, but also by special forces, some of the country's powerful institutions and those who want to become summoners, and also those rich and wealthy. We all need it. Who doesn't want to be strong and healthy, free from illness and disaster? The supply of bodybuilding pills on the market has always been in short supply, and they are priceless. Fake bodybuilding pills, insufficient quality bodybuilding pills and some low-quality bodybuilding pills are flooding the market. There are too many. Like Mr. Luoan, he has just been able to come up with it. Those top-notch bodybuilding elixirs are really rare. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 536. Interesting. Xiaopingyan rubbed his chin. He had never thought that this operation would have so many unexpected gains. He got more than 1,000 demon rats. Even if they are calculated as just 1,000, if these demon rats are used to refine the body strengthening elixir, one demon rat is equal to 5 body strengthening elixirs and half of the primary god elixir. At most, it only takes in half a month, he can provide at least 5,000 body strengthening pills. I didn't expect the bodybuilding pills to be so popular. I can indeed refine a lot of bodybuilding pills here, but how do your dragon groups exchange them? Xiaopingan asked. The price of these body strengthening pills like those refined by Mr. Luoan on the market is conservatively estimated at 150,000 yuan each. A young person using the body strengthening pills for a complete body strengthening would require about 180 body strengthening pills, which is equivalent to 27 million Chinese yuan. Because body strengthening pills are relatively scarce and the quality of the body strengthening pills refined by Mr. Luoan is top-notch, we will give a little premium. A bottle of 180 pills can be priced at 30 million Chinese yuan. Let's exchange it at this price. What does Mr. Luoan think? After listening to Chen Changming's words, Xiaopingan realized that it was too easy for high-level summoners on Earth to make money. 30 million yuan may seem like a lot, but in fact, considering the huge changes that a bottle of bodybuilding elixir can bring to a person's health, this amount of money is actually not expensive, especially for some wealthy people. Not only is it not expensive, it is too cheap. When some rich people get sick, they stay in a hospital and hire a team of medical experts for treatment, which can easily cost tens or even hundreds of millions. Some people spend millions every day to maintain their health. News. 180 bodybuilding elixirs need to be hunted and killed by 36 demonic rats, and they also need to be refined by an alchemist. For ordinary summoners, these are not easy tasks, especially since the alchemist is a high-level labor force with 30 million yuan. To complete these tasks, the price can only be said to be appropriate. I can accept this price, Xiaopingan said directly. I have fused most of the ordinary world beads. I am now collecting the rare world beads that I have not fused and even the black box world beads. As long as your dragon group can get them if you bring out the world beads that I have not fused, I can exchange them according to the market price of those rare world beads. Chen Changming also smiled. Then it's settled. I'll contact the country right now and ask the country to send a few boundary beads to Mr. Luoan to see. Okay, no problem. Seeing Xiaopingan nod, Chen Changming moved his hand and pulled out another special watch. He handed the watch to Xiaopingan naturally. This is the special service communication watch of our dragon team. It can connect to satellites to transmit information. After the beads are delivered, I will use this to contact Mr. Luoan. Seeing the watch that Chen Changming took out, Xiaopingan realized that this guy had already prepared it, but he didn't care. He just smiled and took the watch. Are your dragon team poaching our order committee? As the voice appeared, Fang Lingqian came over and looked a little unhappy as Chen Changming handed the dragon team's special service watch to Xiaopingan. Although Fang Lingqian knew before that once the mission started, it would be impossible to isolate the dragon group from Xiaopingan, but she was still a little unhappy when she saw Chen Changming start so quickly, knowing that she had the exclusive contact with Luoan before. Ha ha ha, what are you talking about? We are all a family. Chen Changming said with a ha ha. What's more, Mr. Luoan is originally from China. In terms of relationship, our relationship with Mr. Luoan is closer. Mr. Luoan just asked our team to bring something to China. Fang Lingqian took a deep breath, looked directly at Xiaopingan, and smiled slightly. Mr. Luoan, our order committee also needs body strengthening pills. We can use rare pills according to the conditions that Mr. Luoan just discussed with team leader Chen. Jizu exchanges body strengthening pills with Mr. Luoan. Does Mr. Luoan mind? Xiaopingan spread his hands. Of course I don't mind. Okay, then it's settled. Our great Yan Kingdom and China have the same origin. Great Yan Kingdom recognizes dual nationality, and many Chinese people can also join Great Yan Kingdom. Chen Changming and Fang Lingqian looked at each other and smiled. The Dragon Group and the Order Committee are mutually trusting partners and comrades in arms, but when it comes to competing for high-level talents, the two parties are in a competitive relationship, and no one will let go easily. When he walked out of the building, Xiaoping's feeling could only be described as dark and clear. He didn't expect that when he returned to Earth this time, the little bodybuilding pill would actually bring him a big surprise. As long as he has enough body-strengthening pills, he can get all the rare world beads in the hands of the Dragon Group and the Order Committee, which will greatly increase his cultivation speed. The problem now is that Xiaoping has begun to consider whether his body-strengthening elixir is enough. He knew before that the price of some rare world beads can easily be hundreds of millions, and there are billions of world beads. If he really wanted to exchange these bodybuilding pills for him now, I'm afraid he wouldn't be able to exchange them for a few world beads. I wonder where there are more magic rats? After walking out of the Order Committee's stronghold, Xiaoping was about to use illusion magic to disappear when he saw Tupolu driving an SUV in front of him. In addition to Tupolu, Fang Lingshan was also in the car. Both of them looked at him. "Mr. Luoan, can we get in the car and have a chat?" Tupolu looked at Xiaoping and said. Xiaoping got into the car, Tupolu drove the car, and soon drove out of District 11. Xiaoping didn't say where he was going, and Tupolu drove aimlessly, glancing at Xiaoping's face through the rearview mirror from time to time. Fang Lingshan sat in the back row, next to Xiaoping. Her beautiful big eyes looked at Xiaoping very carefully, as if she wanted to see a flower on Xiaoping's face. For the first few minutes, no one spoke in the car. After the car had driven more than 10 kilometers, Tupolu finally broke the silence. "Mr. Luoan, do you know Xiaoping?" Xiaoping smiled secretly in his heart and nodded, "I know you. Xiaoping is our good brother, a good brother who passed away. Later he went on a special mission. I don't know whether he is alive or dead. I have never heard him say that he knew Mr. Luoan before." "How did Mr. Luoan know him?" Tupolu's voice was calm, but Xiaoping saw that the veins on his hand holding the steering wheel were popping up, as if he was trying to control his emotions. Xiaoping was silent for a moment. Originally, he had a lot of things to say. Originally, he was going to continue to use Luoan's identity to meet and get along with Tupolu and the others, but at this time, he felt that he could not say those things out loud. A strange feeling emotion surged through him. After a few seconds of silence, Xiaoping changed his voice to Xiaoping's voice, "Lao Tu, Lingshan, it's great to see you in Paris." Squeak. Tupolu braked, and the tires of the SUV driving on the road screeched and stopped in the blink of an eye. Tupolu suddenly turned his head and looked at Xiaoping, his eyes flashed, and Fang Lingshan directly quickly, he took out a gun and pointed it at Xiaoping's head. Tupolu had a rocket launcher in his hand. He aimed the rocket launcher at Xiaoping's face. His eyes were red, as if he wanted to kill someone. "Damn it, you dare to pretend to be my brother, I will kill you." "Who are you?" Fang Lingshan asked coldly. While Xiaoping was thinking, he had already cast a silent barrier to isolate the sound in the car. "Lingshan, your temper is still so hot. Be careful, don't let your gun go off. And Lao Tu, it won't be easy for me to come back. Don't send me away again." Xiaoping said slightly. He smiled and sighed softly, "How is the set of hi-fi speakers left by Lao Man in our canteen? I didn't think about the set of speakers in our canteen when I was here before. I haven't listened to them for a long time. I miss them. And Laozhou, how are you doing with Laozhou? I didn't even drive the super pickup truck Laozhou built for me twice, and finally gave it to Man Zijian. I couldn't bear to part with it." Fang Lingshan's hand holding the gun trembled, and Tupolu was breathing heavily and his eyes widened. "I know you two may not believe it for a moment, but this matter is difficult to explain. I can't explain it in a sentence or two. I can only tell you that the real Xuanhuan actually died a few days ago. He was in a small hotel. He committed suicide. I just borrowed his body to come back. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 537. As a summoner, I have seen too many weird things and various secrets that emerge one after another. Summoners know many things that ordinary people don't know and have a relatively open mind. Therefore, after Tupolu and Fang Lingshan heard Xiaopinggan's words, although the two of them were shocked, they did not lose their minds like ordinary people and thought it was impossible. Tupolu took a few breaths and suddenly asked, "Many people know what you just said. Don't pretend to me. You said you are Xiaopinggan. Then let me ask you a question. When we met, what was the first thing I said to you? What was the first thing I handed you?" Tupolu is a person who is both rough and subtle. Only those who have experienced this kind of question know that it is a trivial matter in life. No one else but Xiaopinggan can answer it. Xiaopinggan thought for a while. "I remember that the first thing you said to me, Lao Tu, was, 'Boy, you are not bad, your clairvoyance is hidden so deeply.' The first thing you handed me was a protective shield on the helicopter noisy headphones. That was our first mission, which was to hunt down the demon rat." After hearing Xiaopinggan's answer, Tupolu opened his mouth and his expression changed, which was very exciting all of a sudden. Fang Lingshan's expression also changed, because she was also on the helicopter at the time and knew that this was the situation at that time. Tupolu looked at Fang Lingshan. Fang Lingshan frowned slightly, thought for a while, and then spoke. "When Xiaoning met me for the first time, she said that you mentioned me to her. Do you still remember that we were where did we meet, and Xiaoning said how many times did you mention me to her?" Xiaopinggan touched his nose. "We were at the Guangzhou hotel at the time. Think about it, that girl just likes to trick me, my brother. She said that I mentioned you to her at least 5 times. Lingshan, is he right?" Tupolu asked with a frown. You are really Xiaopinggan." Fang Lingshan had put away her gun and looked at Xiaopinggan with a look of shock. When Fang Lingshan and Xiaoning met for the first time, there was almost a misunderstanding. Only Xiaopinggan was present at that time. No one else but Xiaopinggan could know those words. After hearing Fang Lingshan's words and seeing that Fang Lingshan had put away the gun, Tupolu knew that Xiaopinggan was right. He even knew this kind of question, so it couldn't be false. Tupolu also put away the rocket launcher, and he was also excited. He patted Xiaopinggan on the shoulder. "Brother, is it really you? How, what's going on? I thought I wouldn't be able to see it in the future. It's your turn." I asked the old man, and he said that you participated in the Great Yan Kingdom's sky mending project and went to the world where the space invasion originated. This is the most confidential mission. The mission you received is to completely eliminate space. The invasion may not come back. Did your plan succeed? Old 2, to put it simply, I can come back because I have mastered a secret method, which is equivalent to reviving a dead body. Luoyan's body and identity are the tools I use in this world. The difficulty of the sky mending plan is beyond imagination. Until now, we haven't seen any hope of completing this task. Xiaopinggan said directly. Are the others back too? Fang Lingshan asked immediately. Lingshan, I am the only one who can come back. The others may not be able to come back for the time being. This plan to mend the sky has encountered difficulties and twists and turns from the beginning. The enemy we face is too strong. I am separated from the others. After we got there, we only met Yan Duo. Later, due to some reasons, we also separated, each looking for opportunities and ways out. Xiaopinggan said. He looked outside the car. The car had been parked here for a while. On the roadside not far away, there were already gangster-looking people looking at the car, and many pedestrians were also looking at it. In this car, Old 2, Please drive the car first and find a place. Let's talk slowly. Tupolu started the vehicle again, and as soon as he stepped on the accelerator, the SUV started running again. An hour later, by the Seine River outside Paris. The Seine River flows quietly, and the SUV is parked next to the reeds on the river beach. Not far away, there is an abandoned small dock, and a damaged small yacht lies on the river beach, half buried by the silt. On the other side of the river, it is a deserted field, with no human beings around except for hares. The breeze blew gently on the river, and the reeds on the riverside were swaying. Except for the sound of insects and the flowing river, the surroundings were quiet. A stone hit the river, floated more than 10 meters along the surface of the river, and then fell into the river. Xiaopinggan clapped his hands, turned around, and looked at Tupolu and Fang Lingshan. The two of them were like sculptures at the moment, completely shocked by what Xiaopinggan told them. Xiaopinggan didn't go into details about the spiritual world. It would be too far to talk about this. He only said that he had mastered a secret method that can be used to clone one's body and come back through the secret method. But even so, Tupolu and Fang Lingshan still found it incredible. Now you know, this is probably what happened. Only you two know about my return for the time being. I used a secret method to entrust you with a dream that night. I originally wanted to tell Li Yunzhou, but that guy's dream was too obscene. I couldn't help teasing him, and I'll tell him in a few days. You can now enter other people's dreams through dreams and deliver messages in other people's dreams, Tupolu asked with his eyes widened and swallowed his saliva. Almost, that's basically it. Xiaoning, the director, and others don't know yet. It depends on the situation. I'm worried that if more people know, it won't be good. It might cause big trouble and bring trouble to you come to danger. Tupolu and Fang Lingshan listened, thought for a while, and nodded. Xiaopinggan's secret method of cloning is too abnormal. If others know about it, it might cause big trouble, and if the devil's eye I know, Xiaopinggan is probably the target of public criticism, and will be hunted down by the devil's eye all over the world. Other summoners who are not the devil's eye may not have complete goodwill towards a person like Xiaopinggan. The complexity and darkness of people's hearts, many the time is beyond imagination. You said, you were being chased by a demigod over there, Fang Lingshan asked in a hoarse voice, how strong is that demigod? Xiaopinggan thought for a while, if all the summoners in this world form an army, none of them can be a match for that person. If that person is willing, I think he can completely destroy this planet step by step. Can a nuclear bomb kill that demigod? Tupolu asked. I don't know, I don't think so. The abilities of demigod-level experts are beyond our imagination. Their control of space and power has exceeded the limits of the physical laws we know. Xiaopinggan shook his head, I think if that person takes action, it is no less powerful than a nuclear bomb. Under his control, a city with a radius of hundreds of thousands of kilometers will be wiped out in a matter of seconds, and not a single ant will survive. Are you so strong? In front of such people, we are not as good as ants. Tupolu also felt that such power was unimaginable, and he was slightly absent-minded. From the perspective of the summoner, the world over there is the source and the pinnacle of power. Above the demigods, there are existences of the first level of gods. The power of gods is even more unimaginable. Then what is the purpose of your coming back through the secret method? Is there anything we can do to help you? Fang Lingshan asked. There are two reasons. One reason is that I need the world beads to improve my strength. I know there are many rare world beads on the earth. These rare world beads are useful to me. The second reason is that I am a little uneasy and also I miss everyone very much, so I want to come back and see if there is a crisis here, I should be able to help, Xiaopinggan said calmly. Boundary beads, Fang Lingshan murmured to herself, with a helpless smile on her face. They didn't have the world beads that Xiaopinggan didn't have, and they didn't have them. Needless to say, the rare world beads in this world, according to Xiaopingen, the number and types are less than those there. Some of the world beads that Xiaopingen integrated in that world have never been seen on Earth. You don't need to worry about the world beads. I know you don't have any extra world beads. I can now do transactions and tasks with the Order Committee and the Dragon Group to get some world beads. As long as there are magic rats, I can refine them. Strengthen the body pill, and then you can get the world bead. By the way. Xiaopingen suddenly remembered something and thought for a while, if you have the world bead that you are sure about fusion, I can help you fuse it. Tupolu and Fang Lingshan were shocked again when they heard that Xiaopingen could help them fuse the world beads. From the day Xiaopingen revealed his identity to now, the mood of the two of them has never been calm. They are always surprised by Xiaopingen at any time. Tupolu was stunned for a moment, looked at each other with Fang Lingshan, and then asked, "You said you can help us fuse the world beads?" "Yes, at least I can help you fuse any of the world beads obtained in this mission." "Is this also your new secret technique?" "Yes, this secret method comes from a mysterious and powerful world bead. That world bead only exists over there. I'm about to risk fusion, how can you help me?" Tupolu asked. "You can wait until you fall asleep, and I will use my secret method to help you in your dreams. When you go back tonight, after you have a rest at night, I can enter your dreams again." This is a new ability that Xiaopingen has mastered. Generally speaking, people who have fused the Saint Master World Pearl are not able to help others in their dreams. However, in addition to Xiaopingen's fusion of the Saint Master World Pearl, his spiritual body is also extremely powerful. Masters the secret method of the spiritual world, and can enter and exit the spiritual world and enter other people's dreams. In this way, by combining these two abilities, Xiaopingen has the ability that no Saint Master has, to help others in their dreams. Fusion World Bead. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 538. The restaurant was full of tempting food smell. As soon as Xiaopingen returned to the villa, Emily quickly prepared lunch. Fried steak, grilled sausage, French soup, baguettes, and red wine. 2 people ate in the restaurant, which was very atmospheric. "Teacher, your appetite seems to be not as good as before. Is the food I made not delicious?" Emily flashed her beautiful big eyes, watching Xiaopingen elegantly cut her fried steak, and drank in small sips. Red wine, I couldn't help but ask. Xiaopingen would have finished the food in front of Xiaopingen long ago. "Haha, no, these dishes you made are great. My body needed extremely high calories a few days ago, so I ate a lot. Now my body is back to normal, so my appetite is also normal." Xiaopingen smiled, and then glancing at Emily, "Do you have anything you want to tell me?" "Well, that's it. Teacher, do you still remember the thieves who broke into the villa last time? Remember, what happened? Weren't they taken away by the patrol?" "Well, it's like this." Emily mustered up her courage and seemed a little excited. "The patrol team came to me yesterday and hoped that I could join the community patrol team. They said that there is a great need for female members in the community patrol team. Because it is easier for female team members to deal with things related to women. I knocked down a few thieves last time, and they thought I had such strength. Teacher, do you think I can join? By the way, I forgot to ask you, who controls this community and who does the patrol team serve?" Xiaopingen only remembered this question when he heard Emily talk about the patrol team. Before, this kind of question was very important to him. It was just a trivial matter, and he didn't even bother to pay attention to it. Pierre Fight is the territory of the Popular Front. The Popular Front is very powerful in Paris. They have protected many people and united the people. They are no longer afraid of gangsters and villains, and they will no longer be deceived by despicable politicians. Paris belongs to the people of Paris, France belongs to the people of France. Looking at Emily's shining eyes, listening to the unknowingly rising pitch of Emily's words and her slightly excited face, Xiaopinghan realized that this female student of hers seemed to be a hidden social movement. A fanatic with a sense of justice. "Teacher, don't you agree?" Seeing that Xiaopinghan didn't speak, Emily asked in a low voice with some guilt. "No, I'm just wondering, is it convenient for you to join the patrol team, since they seem to be all men?" Emily suddenly became excited again. She took out a letterhead like a magic trick and handed it to Xiaopinghan. "Teacher, look, this is their invitation letter to me. They said that the People's Front organized a women's patrol team. If I go there, I can be a team leader, lead several girls to perform tasks together, and teach us how to use weapons. Do you want to go?" Emily nodded affirmatively. "The patrol can protect others, and the treatment is good." "Then go ahead. With your current strength, you have no problem protecting yourself. Real summoners are trained little by little in battles." "Teacher, when can I become a summoner?" "After finishing the bottle of elixir I gave you last time, it's almost done. Then I can help you fuse the world beads. By the way, you must keep everything about me a secret. If you let others know that you have me, such a teacher knows that you can take those pills, which may not be a good thing for you," Xiaopinghan explained again seriously. At this moment, Emily still didn't know what Xiaopinghan meant by helping her integrate the world beads. She thought it was just ordinary guidance. "Teacher, don't worry, I know." Emily became happy. "By the way, teacher, did you go on a mission yesterday?" "Roughly the same." Although Emily was very curious about Xiaopinghan's mission and asked several questions in a row, Xiaopinghan still didn't say much. He was afraid of frightening Emily. The Paris in front of him was not peaceful, and there was a hidden crisis. In this kind of situation, under the circumstances, there is no harm in Emily joining the Popular Front Patrol to get in touch with some dangerous things early and exercise her abilities. Before he came to this villa, Emily had lived here alone for 2 years. This girl was very smart and not lacking in courage. She should be able to face it. He was just her teacher and promised to take her to the summoner. On the road, as for how she will go in the future, it can only be decided by herself. After the two of them finished eating, they collected and washed the dishes together, and chatted for a while. Emily changed her clothes, took a pistol, and left the villa. She happily went to contact the patrol team. She had promised to do so before. Think about it before replying to the patrol. After Emily left, Xiaopinghan went to the underground shelter of the villa, opened the formation disc, took out the Sudongpo's world bead he had just obtained, and pondered for a moment. The story of Sudongpo and Gao Li is very meaningful. If the content of this world bead is not beyond Xiaopinghan's expectation, the story of this world bead should be about the first important event related to national information security and intellectual property rights in Chinese history. The protagonist of the event, that is Sudongpo. After the blood dripped, Xiaopinghan was wrapped in a cocoon of light in a moment. The world in the boundary pearl gave no one time to react. As soon as Xiaopinghan opened his eyes, he found himself walking in the corridor of the palace. A eunuch was hunched in front, leading the way in small steps. While leading the way, the eunuch quietly turned around and whispered to Xiaopinghan, "Master Su, your Zizi officials have all seen it, but Master Dong and others have seen it." I strongly objected. "The Koreans have not come to pay tribute for many years. This time they came to pay tribute. I heard that they also sent their prince." The Ministry of Finance paid great attention to it and was about to receive it with great fanfare. Now the official family is also in trouble. Mr. Dong has been recruited just now. When the official recruited Mr. Su, he also went in for questioning. This is the difficulty for people who are not well versed in Chinese history to integrate the Jizu. If someone else hears these words, his mind will definitely go blank and he will be completely confused. He has no idea who His Majesty this eunuch is talking about. Who is Mr. Dong? Who Who is the Korean, and what did he say in his book? There will be ghosts only if he fails. Xiaopinggan just turned his head around and basically knew. As for Mr. Dong, who opposed Sushi, Xiaopinggan thought for a while, and the name of Dong Dunyi, a civil servant in the northern Song dynasty, came to his mind. This guy should be Ren at the moment. He was the minister of the Ministry of Industry, a bachelor of the Hanlin Academy, and a lecturer. He was also an important minister of the imperial court. While talking, Xiaopinggan was taken to the door of a palace. On the main seat of the palace, an emperor was sitting, and there was a minister standing in the palace, talking about something. Reporting to the official family, Zhou Chao, a bachelor of Duanming Palace and a bachelor of Imperial Academy, is invited to pay an audience to Mr. Sushi, the minister of the Ministry of Rights. Sushi. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 539. Master Su, as the Minister of Rights of the Imperial Court, is so resistant to the visit of the Goryeo envoys to pay tribute to the Song dynasty. In my opinion, this is a rare opportunity for the Song dynasty to unite with Goryeo to resist the Liao kingdom, and that the Korean envoy also brought birthday gifts to the Empress Dowager, but Mr. Su blocked it and set restrictions on the Korean envoy. I don't know why. As soon as Xiaopinggan entered the palace, he had just met Song Shenzong, and his eyes were quietly looking at Song Shenzong's appearance. Then Dong Dunyi immediately attacked Xiaopinggan, full of gunpowder. I heard that the Korean envoy has sent a letter to Shangshu, and wants to buy many books printed by the Imperial Academy of the Song dynasty. The Korean envoy also wants to read our Taiping Yulan, Sefu Yuangi and other books. Shangshu Sheng, have you agreed? Xiaopinggan looked at Dong Dunyi and asked in a calm tone. Note 1. To be fair, Dong Dunyi and his like are not really treacherous officials, they are just pedantic and ignorant, and they take things for granted. If Dong Dunyi knew that in another 1,000 years, the descendants of the Korean people would be able to steal the culture they learned from China. When the achievements of civilization are said to have been invented by them, the expressions on Dong Dunyi's and others' faces must be wonderful. Even at this time, those Goryeo sticks had no good intentions. On the surface, they were envoys who wanted to reconcile with the Song dynasty, but in fact they were intimidated by the Liao kingdom. The Goryeo envoys were ordered by the Liao kingdom to spy on the Song dynasty. Haha, Mr. Su is very well informed. Yes, the Korean envoy has sent a letter to the Ministry of Secretariat. He wants to buy many books printed by our Imperial College. He also wants to read Taiping Yulan, Sefu Yuangi and other books. We think this is because Goryeo admires the prosperity of the Song dynasty and longs for it. Dong Dunyi looked proud. We, the Song dynasty, just used this to show our kingly and gentle strategy, win over Goryeo, and jointly fight against the Liao dynasty. Why not? I heard that Mr. Dong even took in 2 concubines a few days ago. Mr. Dong wants to be gentle with Goryeo so much, why not give his wife and concubine to those Goryeo people to be gentle with him? Song Shenzong and Dong Dunyi probably never thought that Sushi would say such a thing. Song Shenzong's face was almost laughing, but he still tried his best not to laugh. After being stunned for a moment, Dong Dunyi's face suddenly turned red. Pointing at Xiaopinggan, you Sushi are the Minister of Rights after all, how could you be so humiliating and polite in front of officials? Huero Goryeo. Dong Dunyi, you are a fairy, you are an old turtle who gave birth to a son without an asshole, you are a fool who can't tell the difference, you are a coward, you still want to sell books to Koreans, so that we, the Song dynasty, can Taiping Yulan and Sefu Yuangi are given to those Korean people. I think you son of a turtle is like a tortoise climbing the threshold, sooner or later you will have to do somersaults. Xiaopinggan directly pointed at Dong Junyi's nose with a Shu accent and scolded. He stood up and said, "I'm scolding you now, why don't you come to Huiro and let me try?" Dong Junyi was in a daze and was dumbfounded by Xiaopinggan's fast and urgent string of Shu dialects. He was so angry that his whole body was trembling and his face turned red. He bowed directly to Song Shenzong and stammered, "The officials, please punish the crime of disrespecting Sushi and insulting the ministers, in front of the sage." Song Shenzong was also a little confused. Sushi was a literary giant of the Song dynasty, an idol in the eyes of the world's literati. Sushi usually spoke in a formal and precise manner, which made Song Shenzong a little annoyed. Song Shenzong didn't like it very much. How could Song Shenzong learn from Sushi? Hearing these fiery market words, I felt that the Sushi in front of me was particularly novel, not as old-fashioned as before, and I was a little stunned for a while. "Ahem, Sushi, how can you be so rude?" Song Shenzong scolded. Xiaopinggan saluted Song Shenzong, and then said with a serious face, "Please forgive me, I just demonstrated to Mr. Dong that the so-called Huiro cannot be used for everyone. I just scolded after saying a few words to Mr. Dong. Mr. Dong hated me to the core in his heart. He wanted your majesty to punish me and refused to show any mercy. What the Koreans did to me, the Song dynasty, was thousands of times worse than what I just scolded Mr. Dong. Times, if we, the Song dynasty, want to implement the kind of gentle policy that Mr. Dong said towards the Korean people and let them get whatever they ask for in our Song dynasty, then we will not distinguish between good and evil, and there will be endless troubles." "Oh, tell me, what will happen to Song Huiro and Goryeo?" Song Shenzong asked directly. Dong Junyi was gasping with anger from Xiaopinggan next to him. He held his chest with one hand and glared at Xiaopinggan fiercely. "If the other party is a human being, you can be gentle. If the other party is a white-eyed wolf with poison on his teeth and has ulterior motives, it will be useless no matter how gentle you are. It will only make the other party laugh at me for being pedantic and incompetent. The Song dynasty will only surrender to the majesty of swords, but they don't know that there is kindness in the world. They are despicable people and cannot be trusted. Goryeo sent envoys to our Song dynasty this time. On the surface, they wanted to make friends with our Song dynasty. In fact, they had a small calculation. It is not good for our Song dynasty. The envoys from Goryeo who came to our Song dynasty must have been allowed by the Liao kingdom to spy on our Song dynasty on behalf of the Liao kingdom. If we resell those books to Goryeo, the Liao people can get our Song dynasty in the blink of an eye. These books. Why is Mr. Su so sure that the Korean envoy was sent by the Liao people? I have seen the list of books that Korean people want to buy. The list is full of books on divination, yin and yang, calendars, arithmetic, military books, edicts, current affairs, frontiers, geography and other types of books of the Song dynasty. According to the businessman responded that there were Korean merchants who also secretly purchased books at various ports before, and all the books purchased by the Koreans would be printed in the Liao kingdom in the blink of an eye. It can be seen in the Liao kingdom. This time, the Korean merchants named Mui came to visit us. The Song dynasty actually wanted to make profits, and his true intentions would eventually be used by the Liao kingdom. Why? The Liao kingdom was able to control his death, but I couldn't do it. When the envoy arrived now, in addition to wanting to buy various books, he also wanted to buy various books along the way. It even depicts the victorious mountains and rivers of the Song dynasty, and the garrison, to see what is real and what is not true. How can this be good-natured? Moreover, after investigation by the Ministry of Rights, it was found that among the envoys of Goryeo there were hidden kitten masterpieces. Hearing Sushi's words, Song Shenzong's face suddenly became serious. Song Shenzong was also a promising king. He also knew what kind of people those Goryeo people were. Although those people in Shangshu province said it nicely, they didn't draw it. The pie is very beautiful, and I want to unite with Goryeo to make Liao, but... Dong Junyi breathed for a moment, and finally got the opportunity to speak from the side. It is precisely because Goryeo is controlled by Liao at the moment, as long as I, the Song dynasty, can use a gentle approach to it, Goryeo will definitely be able to use it to my advantage. Xiaoping'an looked at Dong Junyi and sneered, Mr. Dong, has he forgotten the old things before Taizong's second expedition to Liao? At that time, before Goryeo surrendered to the Liao kingdom and was canonized by the Song dynasty, Taizong sent envoys to Goryeo to pass the imperial edict, hoping to communicate with Goryeo. The Goryeo kingdom jointly attacked the Liao kingdom and fought with all their strength to attack the dying captives. At that time, under such a great opportunity, the Goryeo kingdom was too smart to stand still and did not dare to touch a single tree or plant in the Liao kingdom. This resulted in the unfavorable outcome of Taizong's second campaign against the Liao kingdom. And retreated, and then the Liao kingdom launched a massive attack on Goryeo. Goryeo surrendered, adopted the reign name of the Liao kingdom, and took the Liao kingdom as its suzerain. Until now, what Goryeo did not dare to do when it was canonized by the Song dynasty, now they are in the Liao kingdom. The cavalry were surviving under the swords and became the lackeys of the Liao people. Lord Dong and the ministers of Shangshu province actually want to unite with Goryeo again to control the Liao dynasty. Isn't it ridiculous? No matter how much you give Goryeo, it's just like a meat bun beating a dog. Go back. Dong Junyi was speechless for a moment, and then he argued forcefully, the envoys from Goryeo came to the Song dynasty this time just to lend the Empress Dowager an opportunity to celebrate her birthday and test whether they could unite with the Song dynasty. They also prepared a birthday gift for the Empress Dowager. How can Mr. Su say that those Korean envoys have evil intentions? Xiaoping'an said, the time used by those Korean envoys to give us the table is Jiaza calendar, not Song calendar. Those Korean people just like to tamper in small places like this, be sneaky, use humbleness as cleverness, and have great hatred for me in their hearts. Song has no respect at all. Isn't this a different intention? How can we let those Koreans get what they want? Dong Junyi was speechless again and argued, the birthday gift prepared by the Korean envoy must be true. I heard that it is 2 golden pagodas, which shows his sincerity. Guanxia, this is where those Koryo people are so treacherous. The big golden pagodas that the Koryo people gave us are just 2 small pagodas in boxes. The Koryo people know that once we accept their so-called birthday gifts, the imperial court's return gift was 100 times their birthday gift. They must have made a lot of money, plus the cost of receiving the Korean envoys along the way, it was no less than hundreds of thousands of gold. The place was harassed. The people wasted money, they used 2 worthless playthings. I just want to exchange the most precious classics of the Song dynasty, fake and real, from various places, and make a lot of money. And most of these things will flow into the pockets of the Khitan people in the blink of an eye. To those Goryeo, we can only talk about power. Can't show kindness. Dong Junyi was speechless and speechless by Xiaoping'an. The official family, our Song dynasty is richer than any country has ever seen, and the official family is rich all over the world. There are no rare treasures in the palace, not even a few Koryo knickknacks. What's so strange about it? The AI family is celebrating their birthday, and the golden pagoda is if it is really sent, the AI family will be disgusted with the things of the Koreans. No matter whether they don't want it or not, Your Majesty must not let those Koreans succeed in their treacherous plots and ruin the national affairs. As soon as these words fell, a well-groomed woman slowly walked into the palace with the support of several palace maids and eunuchs. Song Shenzong quickly stood up from his seat and went to help him and ask for courtesy. I've met the Empress Dowager. Dong Junyi and Xiaoping'an saluted quickly. The woman who came in was the Empress Dowager of the Song dynasty and one of Sushi's biggest fans. The AI family heard in the harem that those Koreans were coming to celebrate the birthday of the AI family and caused some trouble. They were about to come over and tell the officials not to let those Koreans succeed in their plot to occupy our Song dynasty just because they were celebrating my birthday. I don't care about the things of the Koreans. The IGA think Master Su is right. The books of our Song dynasty are all the hard work and wisdom of our predecessors, but we must not let those Koreans steal them and give them to the Khitan people. How is that different from capitalizing on the enemy? After hearing this, Xiaopinggan secretly gave the Empress Dowager of the Song dynasty a thumbs up. Note 1, Sushi's on the advantages and disadvantages of buying books in Korea. Golden Summoner. Author, Xuanhuan. Chapter 540. All matters related to the tribute paid by the Goryeo envoys this time will be handled by Mr. Su's Rights Department. All books of the Song dynasty such as divination, yin and yang, calendars, arithmetic, military books, edicts, current affairs, border information, geography, etc. are strictly prohibited. When Koreans buy it, border inspections must be carried out everywhere. Anyone who secretly trades banned books with the Koreans must be severely punished if found out. The golden pagoda given by the Koreans as a birthday gift to the Empress Dowager is not in compliance with the regulations and can be rejected without distinction. Song Shenzong said, looking at the Empress Dowager nodding with satisfaction, he waved his hand, "Okay, let's stop this matter, go down." Just as Xiaopinggan was about to say something, Jiju's world was shattered. In the secret room, Xiaopinggan opened his eyes and saw that the upper limit of his secret mandala's divine power had reached 8,088 points. He couldn't help but shake his head and smile bitterly, feeling a little helpless. This divine power world bead is a perfect fusion. He has completed one of Sushi's missions in the world bead. However, Xiaopinggan still has many regrets. If the world bead can give him a little more time, he may be able to change something. In real history, although Sushi had already seen the harm caused by the Goryeo mission to the Song dynasty when he was the Minister of Rights, and made various efforts to safeguard the national information security and interests of the Song dynasty and eliminate Goryeo spies, but the actual effect was not optimistic. Many ministers and local officials in the imperial court did not take this seriously at all, because in the second year, Suja, Sushi's younger brother, went to the Liao kingdom and discovered that the Song dynasty banned the Korean people. The books I bought had been spread to the Liao kingdom by the Koreans. Because the Khitans could kill the Koreans were the dogs of the Khitans and had been serving the Khitans. Almost all the Koreans and Korean envoys who traveled to and from the Song dynasty were spies of the Khitans, spying on the great Song dynasty. The various military affairs and falsehoods of the Song dynasty are such a simple fact. In the entire Song dynasty and in the civil and military dynasties, Sushi was the only one who fully understood the true nature of the Korean people and made corresponding efforts and changes in his position. Many officials of the Song dynasty even believed that Sushi was narrow-minded and did not have the mind to be a big country. After the brothers Sushi and Suche were demoted to Lingnan, the Song dynasty's anti-Korean espionage operations and efforts to maintain national information security came to an abrupt end. The Koreans became even more unscrupulous in the Song dynasty. What did the court and other officials do? In the face of the Goryeo envoys, the Song dynasty often wasted people and money, wasted a lot of national power, built various luxurious venues, and entertained them warmly along the way. Every time Goryeo paid tribute, it gave the Song dynasty some useless little things. What's more, the Song dynasty gave various generous gifts to Goryeo. The entire court, from top to bottom, was almost immersed in the vanity illusion of the Goryeo people paying tribute, and they were still complacent. Sushi once wrote a poem to sneer at the fact that the imperial court was building large-scale and extremely luxurious buildings to receive the Korean envoys. Outside the walls, the couplets are flying, and the mulberry trees are in ruins. I give Kansia as a slave, but I don't know how much I can repay him. While eating the food of the Song dynasty, the Koreans smashed the pot of the Song dynasty, and continuously shared various intelligence information books and wealth obtained from the Song dynasty with the Khitan people, the enemies of the Song dynasty. Treating a group of white-eyed wolves with ulterior motives as ancestors and offering sacrifices to the northern Song dynasty is unjust. Later, the Khitan people became the Jin people, who could kill the Korean people, and the Korean people became the dogs of the Jin people, continuing to harm the Song dynasty, but the Song dynasty still did not wake up and continued to spend money to raise a bunch of white-eyed wolves. Whoever kills the ruling class of the Koreans will be their dogs, and they will continue to do things that harm China. This is Sushi's summary of the Koreans, and it is also the law of history. Due to the massive leakage of national intelligence information, the Song dynasty, Liao Kingdom, and Jin Kingdom were in the long-term military struggle, just like transparent people, with no secrets at all. All the false and true actions of the Song dynasty were completely ignored by the Khitans, and the Jin people knew that the Khitans would soon know about the major military and state affairs discussed in Bianjing city. The consequence of this was that the Khitans blackmailed the Song dynasty at the negotiating table several times, and all were successful. The most serious one resulted in a large-scale invasion of Xixia. Success comes to an end. The intelligence information of the imperial court was leaked so seriously that Emperor Shenzong of the Song dynasty had to personally issue an imperial edict prohibiting officials from talking about the confidential affairs of the imperial court with their relatives and friends. The edict was issued, but it actually had little effect. To put it bluntly, the Song dynasty was the dynasty that failed the most in terms of counterintelligence and national information security. Sushi was the only elite of that era who saw the significant impact that maintaining national information security and counterintelligence would have on the fate of the country. To some extent, Sushi's sobriety was incompatible with his surroundings at that time, and it was also painful. Historically, it was not until the year before the fall of the northern Song dynasty that Song Kinzong seemed to have discovered the true identity of the Goryeo mission. Suddenly he woke up. The extremely bored Song Kinzong pinched his nose and ordered the Goryeo mission to bear all the expenses of the Goryeo mission to the Song dynasty. The Song dynasty officials no longer entertained Korean missions. It's just that it's too late to wake up. If 1,000 years later, Sushi goes to Korea, gets off the plane, and sees a group of Koreans wearing hanfu, holding a sign saying that Chinese clothes were also invented by Koreans, they are hanbok, and even Confucius became Korean, maybe Sushi will feel that history is happening again. This time, the people who can kill the Goryeo ruling class are no longer the Khitans and Jin people, but the people from the lighthouse country on the other side of the ocean. And the Goryeo people, more than 1,000 years later, still have the same virtues and always want to steal something from China. It only took 5 minutes to fuse this world bead. Xiaopinggan sat in the secret room for a while, finally shook his head, and then left the secret room. Emily returned less than 3 hours after leaving the villa. Emily looked excited to be back in the villa. Xiaopinggan happened to have time and was cooking in the kitchen. Emily took off her coat and scarf and came to the kitchen smelling the aroma of the food. "Teacher, they asked me to report tomorrow. I also saw a few female patrol members. They were all very easy to get along with. There is also an underground training ground over there for the patrol team. It was converted from a shelter. You can stay in it. Training firearms and various fighting skills." As she spoke, Emily looked at Xiaopinggan's face and asked carefully, "I competed with them today, and several female team members wanted to learn from me. Fighting skills, teacher, can I teach them the 7 skills you taught me?" Xiaopinggan laughed, "Of course." Emily came over and kissed Xiaopinggan suddenly on the face. "Thank you, Luoan." Xiaopinggan was stunned for a moment, then shrugged and smiled. Emily also pretended to be nonchalant, but in fact her little heart was beating loudly. At night, the spirit world. The sky full of starry spirits appeared in the sky again. After Xiaopinggan entered the spirit world, he quickly locked onto the star spirit bodies of Tupolu and Fang Lingshan. Both of them fell asleep very early tonight, already waiting for Xiaopinggan's arrival. As Xiaopinggan thought, he flew into the sky and turned into a bright star. He entered his dream and created things with his thoughts. As the thoughts appeared, a Chinese-style building floated in the sky, like a palace in the sky. The dojo palace appeared in his own dream. For an intermediate pastor, creating things in his dreams is just a trivial matter. Outside the palace, clouds are lingering and cranes are flying. Inside the dojo, the golden palace is decorated with white jade steps, which is magnificent. After building the palace, he waved his hand and pointed at the twinkling star spirits in the sky, summoning Tupolu and Fang Lingshan. Two star spirits flew into the hall and suddenly transformed into the figures of Tupolu and Fang Lingshan. Ah, where is this? Tupolu looked at the magnificent hall and was suddenly confused. Is this also in a dream? Well, this old butcher, this is in my dream. Xiaopinggan smiled. It's so amazing. Fang Lingshan looked up at the majestic and tall golden dragon pillars in the hall and the gorgeous dome filled with paintings of gods and Buddhas above the dragon pillars. It feels like reality. I didn't expect dreams to be so mysterious. Where is that guy Li Yunzhou? Xiaopinggan asked Tupolu. I don't know. I specifically asked him to rest early tonight, but that guy probably ignored me. He probably went to the bar in the Chinese community to pick up girls again, saying he wanted to relax. Tupolu said helplessly.